Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera. This week we are going to cover chapter 7, managing projects. So in this video, which is a part 1, I will explain a part of this chapter that will discuss about why IT projects become business failures. We are still in the last part of this course, which is governance, right? Okay, part 4 comprise of 4 chapters, chapter 6, 7, 8 and 9, right? Chapter 6, IT governance, which is you have covered last week, and you learned about authority and accountability for IT decision. So in chapter 7, managing project, you are going to learn about the IT project management issues, and about why IT project always fail and how to have good project management. Okay, so next following weeks, you will cover chapter 8 and 9, which is IT sourcing and security and business continuity. As I mentioned just now, in this chapter, you will learn about the IT project management issues, and why IT project always fail, and how to have a good project management, by discuss about how IT managers manage the IT project, right? So the main agenda of this chapter is basically focusing on why IT projects become business failures. Three antidotes. We discuss about the art of lean project management and non-IT managers, where and how. These are the jargon used throughout this chapter, right? The first one is IT project failure. Commonly, most IT projects fail because botched execution. Meaning that the implementation is fail. Why? It is due to a flunk cost. Flunk cost is too expensive, and the price that shock people. The next one is schedule. Because of schedule, the schedule here means exceed project timeline, and quality targets, meaning that did not meet the user requirements. So the IT project failed because it cannot deliver promise. Meaning that it does not fit the company as expected. Next is a triple constraint in IT project, which is referring to cheap, fast, and good. It is basically about a constraint to IT projects to have 3 in one go. So it can pick only 2, either cheap and fast, cheap and good, or fast and good. 80-20 rules is about 80% business needs are met by 20% of project features, meaning that only 20% IT functions meet user requirement. Cause of failure, it's about imprecise business intent, which is requirement not accurate. Uh, Unnecessary complexity. It's about scope not clear, which adding unnecessary features and not simplify. The third one is lack of explicit trade-offs. It's about a not clear requirement, and don't know what to automate and what to do conventionally. Next is antidotes to failure. It's about antidote can be said as vaccine. So the first one is discovering latent business needs, which means to search or the hidden requirement. Curbing scope is about limit the scope of requirement. Explicit accountability is for benefit business, meaning that to highlight clearly what company can benefit from each IT features. Next is lean principles. It is regarding the business involvement, which is to get a decision maker in the user requirement capture process. Okay, uh, rapid iteration is about to repeat the process fast until solution found and then move to the next process. Okay, less code, uh, meaning that to avoid a lengthy line of code and make it short and simple. Okay, the rollout strategy, it is a plan to hand over and install the IT system to be used by the user. Okay, so how a complete project is rolled out to the user, it is basically normally measured by um, ab- abruptly replace, okay, by quickly replacing the old system, or run in parallel, okay, by running concurrently with the old system before you uninstall it, right? And chunk rollout is install and run the system portion by portion, okay? A dismal track record. Dismal track record means bad track record. Okay, the studies show that two of three IT project fails, right? So only one of three is a succeed. Okay, basically this trend shows quite consistent in IT business. Okay, more than half never deliver their intended business benefits. Okay, business benefit here is for example generate high revenue, increase productivity, right? Okay, a larger projects are 5 to 10 times higher failure rate, which means the larger, the more failure rates. Okay, uh, and these problems afflict small and large firms, non-profits, and governments worldwide. Right? Okay, actually, the problems that most often derail IT projects are predictable and preventable. Okay, they repeated the same mistakes which could be learned and avoided. Okay, for example, as shown in this figure, okay, assuming that 25% of the 4 trillion 1 trillion spent on IT annually went into IT project. So 2 of 3, for example, 700 billion was wasted in 1 year. Okay, this is show that a 700 billion value can cover MIT tuition cost, which is free for student for more than 200 years. Okay. Okay, consequences worsening. Consequences worsening means the things getting worse. Okay, okay. Business penalties worsening because as IT project growing larger in the company, for example, more department will implement IT system and more IT failure the company will face, which is give more damage to the company. So most rigorous testing leaves half the bugs undetected. Okay, commonly in a large IT system, even the most rigorous testing could leave half the bugs undetected. So these bugs create malfunction to the system, which would cause malfunctioning products. Okay, stop business procedure, failed firms, and preventable death. Okay, which is totally collapse. Okay, so how IT is developed, failing to keep pace with its growing complexity. It is basically due to human error, which software is developed by humans, right? So who tend to make mistake? It's about 100 to 150 mistakes in every 1000 lines of code. Okay, this is normal. So the next one is a process error. Okay, for example, the solution is not a better humans but better processes that makes the better quality. Okay, this slide tells you about repeating old mistakes. So we should learn a lesson from the past, right? Okay, massive scale, meaning that a large scale IT project should be divided into several small scale. Okay, so uncertainty, it is about we need to know exactly what IT features are worth in business. Okay, bickering stakeholders, we have to include the stakeholders involved in IT decision. Okay, railroads, the electric grid, highways, moon landings, and Hoover. These are the examples of IT project failed, and we should learn from the mistake of this project, right? Okay, making a new mistakes is not the same as repeating old mistake. Okay, okay. Can you guess what this is? Okay, the clue is uh, the project was a massive infrastructure project that promised to speed the global flow of goods, meaning that it provides fast delivery of goods, mark the death of distance in global commerce, okay, which is shorten the travel way and save cost, okay, uh, wipe out inefficiencies, okay, which is the delivery fast, make a fortune for all investors and stakeholders, which is profitable, okay. But in the end, the project uh, was completed 6 years behind schedule, and then cost twice as much. Okay, meaning that it doubles cost. Can promise pay off 100 years behind schedule, meaning that it has to reach 100 years to get payment back. So, can you guess what is the project? Okay, the answer of the project that I mentioned just now is Suez Canal Project 1854. Okay, the project basically was the 101-mile long Suez Canal started in 1854 that connected the Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea. Yeah. Okay, and the idea was to make a shortcut from London to Bombay without traveling around Africa. Okay, and the Suez Canal shortened the London to Bombay journey by more than 5,000 miles. Okay, so what happens today is 17,000 ships with a billion tons of cargo passing through it each year, which bring a net worth to the Egyptian government's about 6 billion in revenue. And to reach these figures, however, took 100 years, right? So, what is what IT project can learn from this Suez Canal project? The first one is obvious. Uh, Technical merits on paper don't get a project use, meaning that a good technical paper cannot explain itself that a project can be used. Okay, for example, in this case, okay, benefit to shippers are pirate free, shorter distance, and cheaper trip. Okay, so expect no payoff until it's used, right? Okay, another failed technology project was electric vehicle in London. Okay, this figure is the London Electrobus One at its charging station circa 1907. Okay, okay, this is about London Electrobus 2 story. Okay, the London Electrobus company tried in 1907, which is more than 100 years before Tesla Motors. Tesla is a producer of electric car. Okay, so the buses were well engineered, had 38-mile range, and used quite intelligent battery to keep them running all day. So at that time, the gasoline engine was not yet inevitable. Its competitors was the horse-drawn buggy. Okay, what happened was is the buses were 300% over budget and burdened with a battery weighing 3,000 pounds. Okay, 30 out of 50 buses were never completed, and it caused quality and schedule, which is it flunked all three, meaning that all three failed. Okay, so lesson for IT project is the first one. The project simultaneously involve too many unproven technologies, so it's very risky. Don't put many unproven technology at one time. The second one is clever technology does not guarantee success. Okay, it must outdo its real competition, which is not always obvious. Okay, and for the electrobus, the competition was not the automobile but the horse, which was underestimated. Okay, so the third one is doom without compliments, meaning that integration of many unproven technologies and introducing it before the complements made the projects doom. Okay. Okay. In contrast to the Hoveran project, which is this project was completed in 1994. The project was completed 2 years early and under budget. And key success of this project was that the managers created master plan and distributed the works among the engineers, uh, but gave engineers discretion over their part of the job. Okay, so the lesson for IT project is micromanage what, but not how. Meaning that macromanage only, do not micromanage specialists. Okay, you just get the results expected from their work only. Okay, you can give instruction to what to deliver but not how to deliver. All right, that's the lesson learned for IT projects. Okay, so with that, uh, with all the three historical analogies, they are not perfect but very informative and do not repeat the same mistakes. Okay, I think that's all for the part 1 video for chapter 7. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera.